had moved to Memphis for school, and at that time I had moved and was living on Mud Island because it was the only place I knew to live in Memphis. And I honestly think we Googled Mud Island Church, and Island Community Church was what popped up. So we came the next week, and I'm not really sure that we ever went anywhere else after that.
And actually our next door neighbor ended up sharing ICC with us. And then actually Jeff and Mickey ended up knocking on our door inviting us to ICC.
When I was visiting another church out in Germantown, and one of Barrett's classmates in seminary said, "You live on Mud Island? Why are you driving all the way out here? There's a church like 2 minutes from your house." And I never heard about it, but I checked it out the next week and never left.
It's a great place. Everybody is really friendly. From the moment I came to Island Community, I felt extremely welcome, and it just felt like a family the first time I stepped in the door.
They seemed really genuinely just committed to knowing us and to investing in us, and that kind of community I think was really what we were looking for. We were both far from home and in a new place and without really any other connections or any other family, and this place really felt like home. It felt like family.
Initially we hopped around at a few different churches here, but we really settled in at ICC because we realized that there was plenty of ways for us to get engaged through the small groups and through the weekly activities, in addition to the weekly Sunday service.
I feel like I'm just more grounded. It's, Christ is my anchor. And before I found ICC, I kind of floated around to churches and I never attended consistently. Also, I feel like some of my best friends have come here, and I've made friends that have inspired me to be a better person.
The closest family I have is in Knoxville, Tennessee, and that's about 7 hours away. And it's really nice to feel like I have a church family and feel like the whole time that I'm here, there's always somebody I can count on and someone I can ask advice from if I need it, and it kind of makes Memphis feel more like home.
When we first moved to Memphis, I guess we were calling our parents and calling our friends and telling them about how dirty the city is and how unsafe the city is and all these kind of negative characteristics of Memphis. But honestly, I can say since we got plugged into ICC, our attitude's really changed. It's our home, it's our community. It's, we're gonna, honestly, Andre and I are gonna be really sad when and if we have to move here in the near future.
Church became a place where I could almost be normal, where I could talk to people and communicate with people and really just be reminded of how that life goes on and that spiritual life goes on, that I couldn't just neglect my spiritual life for these 4 years, and I couldn't just neglect community for these 4 years, and so church became the place where I really invested in those things about my life that I wanted to continue to grow while I was in school.
I'm not gonna lie, it can be a lot, but I would say in no way is it a burden. In fact, I think that in those times that I make church a priority, God reveals things to me in those times. And in fact, more recently, I can honestly say that in those times, He's revealed things to me that just help me find joy in everyday life.
I would say, you can't ever really put life on hold, even if you're busy with school, and even if you're studying really hard, life is still going to happen. And I would say church is probably one of the most important things for that. It kind of helps with the stress. It gives you a place to decompress, to talk to people, and it kind of reorients your focus to what you're doing and why you're doing it.
I think you absolutely can do church and do school and have friends and have a life. You've got to make tough decisions, and you're not going to be going out to Beale Street every night or doing some other things. You've got to make some tough choices when it comes to your time, but it's definitely possible, and it's definitely worth it.
And I think to be involved in church gives you a place that keeps you grounded in the Lord. It keeps you encouraged in the Lord, and gives you a family to keep your eyes focused on Him, to really know the purpose that you're here for, and that He's going to see you through that.
It's all about priorities, and in my life I know that when God isn't a priority, I tend to let school rise to the front. But I also know that when God is a priority, I do find that time and those hours, whether it's 2 hours helping out Glenn at Impact Ministry on a Saturday morning, or 2 hours on a Wednesday night feeding the homeless or the hungry in Midtown, or if it's 2 hours for the men's group on Sunday night. There's always time, and it's really just a function of priorities.
I feel like it's just such an active church. They're always doing something. If it's water ministries every week to small groups to impact ministries, there's always somebody doing something for the community. And it's easy to get involved and stay involved, and the people in this church are amazing.
Real, true friendships and relationships with people that I can count on, people that I know that have my back in any situation, people that I know that I can trust with private information, just true and real relationships with people who would do whatever I needed them to do.
They're okay. If you have questions, I've asked pretty in-depth questions to all the staff at ICC, and not once have they said, "What's wrong with you? Why are you asking that?" Every time they've pointed me to references and helped me grow spiritually, which is ultimately, I think that's the point of a church, is to help us grow spiritually. So that's why I like ICC.
The greatest blessing of ICC to me has been just the spiritual growth that I've seen since I've been here in my life, and also in the lives of my friends and classmates and family that are here, just to get to come to a place every Sunday and to be encouraged in the Lord, and to be reminded of where my focus should be, and to be surrounded by people who love our God and who are committed to living life for Him, has been really the greatest encouragement of my time here in Memphis.